One. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the SRN Fiverr Truck Series. We are here at the season opener at Daytona. Ready for a pretty awesome race here tonight. I do have to say so myself. I'm here with Jonathan Byer, the president of SRN, and Kyle Spees, the fellow broadcaster here in the booth tonight. How you doing, Jonathan?
Good. We're excited for the start of season 5. I know we kind of got to a start last week, but this is the official start. We're super ready. We've put in a lot of hard work. My executive team's done an incredible job. I have to give them a shout out for all the hard work they've done. But we're ready to go. Daytona is always one of our most exciting races, and we're lucky enough to have the guy who won this race last year in here with us tonight.
How we doing,
Um,
fellas?
Good now that we have a Daytona winner in the house. So before we kind of get to who's driving what this year, tell us a little bit about your strategy last year and how you were able to come home with the victory.
I think strategy individually is a key, but I think mostly tonight these guys would want to work with teammates as well as maybe another team. After last season, your pit strategies with teamwork and getting out to a good lead with your teammates out of a clean pit stop or two will help. I think at the end of the race, depending on who's there and who's there together, teamwork at the end will make the difference between winning by a lot or making this a close race.
Couldn't agree more with you. So what do you say, Chris? We get this show on the road. We talk about what's on tap tonight.
Alrighty.
And these drivers are finishing up practice here in the next couple minutes. Remember that we set the duels with the qualifying races last week. So we don't have to do a qualifying session. So these guys will finish up their practice here in the next 4 minutes or so, and then they'll go straight into grid.
Alrighty. Should we go ahead and roll through teams here tonight?
Yeah, let's meet the teams. We have a lot of returning teams, a lot of new faces, but we'll give you an overview. We'll do this for the next couple weeks. That way you have a kind of a reminder of who's where. But there are a lot of shakeups this season for sure.
Definitely. There you have Blue Lightning Racing. We got Nicholas Lawrence in the 8, David Mayberry the 12, Matthew Maniac in the 24, Jason Green in the 55. You see on your screen DG Motorsports 88, Dylan Gomez.
And High Temp Rev Racing, one of our returning teams with all familiar faces on that team. A team I expect to work strong together tonight. Phoenix Virtual Racing is another one of those teams. Long-standing history with SRN, including the two old admins of SRN. Tank, just like the last two, returning team, all familiar faces. They work well together. I expect them to be a factor tonight.
Alrighty. Next up, we have the Garage Shop. We got Sean Corcoran in the 43, Spencer Brown in the 52, Tony Brown in the 71.
Brand new team to SRN this year. We're excited that they're here, and we'll see what they got tonight. They got some good starting spots.
Alrighty, next up, Threat Level Midnight Motorsports. We saw they had a pretty good race last week in the duels. Look for them to be top contenders here tonight.
Yep, and this last screen are our drivers who are just running a part-time schedule or don't have a home yet. Some familiar faces there, but a couple fill-ins for this race. From our entry list we have this morning, we should expect a full field. I think there are only 2 drivers that couldn't make it. So I think we're about ready to roll here. Looks like they have about a minute and a half until they're going to start gridding. So let's go over what the race has in store. We have 60 laps of action. There'll be a stage break at lap 15. At that point, the yellow flag will be thrown. The top 10 at that point will earn stage points, just like they would in any NASCAR Top Series. And then we'll restart the race after that. And I'm sure After the stage breaker, when things will start to get interesting, I kind of expect the first 15 laps guys to try to shuffle to find their teammates and not too much aggression, because 60 laps, as it sounds shorter, is a really long race at a place like Daytona.
Right, yeah, and so yeah, just like you said, I feel like first 15 laps, everyone's gonna be kind of getting the feel for the track, feel for the draft. This is first race of the season, so don't expect too much to go on in that first stage. But yeah, I think towards about 15, 10 laps to go, we're gonna start seeing a lot of pushing, shoving, a lot of taking, no give, and we'll just have to see how the ending plays out here tonight.
Yep. And Spees, you didn't have to deal with a stage break last year, so this is something completely new. If you had that in your race, how would you kind of strategize your run around it?
First, I just want to point out that I didn't know there was a stage till right now, so that's very exciting for this race to point out with. As far as the stage, I would just play it cool and play it in the back. That would be my strategy. You're already going to get the caution if you link up with teammates, and you're going to have to pit again. Just go right back into strategy. So hopefully we see some guys sit back and do that, but we might see some people want to go after stage points and make it very interesting at the beginning of the race.
Yep, stage points any points are important in Speed Racing Network. I mean, you've been around for a few years now, and when it comes to playoff time how often that the Speed Racing Network cut line for the top 15, top 10, top 5 come down to 1 or 2 points or even a tie. So, it could come down to where you have to think all the way back at Daytona, and if you decided to play it conservative and not get the stage points in the beginning part of the race, does that eventually play into your playoff eligibility, which, is kind of why NASCAR implemented it, to reward people that maybe run really well in the beginning part of the race, but then something happens and they can't get those points at the end. But you also think, that adds a level of strategy on top of what we're already doing. At most tracks, our stage breaks, they're going to be 25% distance in, so it shouldn't create an issue where there's any fuel mileage or pit stops that need to be made before the stage break. But just to add that little bit of extra, guys can run that first run and kind of figure things out and get themselves some points early. So looks like we're starting the grid, so we'll run through the grid here and tell you who's starting where based on the duels from last week.
Alrighty.
So here's the grid for tonight. You'll notice our pole sitter, Dalton McKinney, who won that duel number 1, could not make the race tonight, so he will not be here. Everybody gets to move up 1 spot. We do not have the teams up on the screen yet because we're still working on some finer details here at Speed Racing Network, but there's your top 12. Any surprises there?
Not really.
I mean, it is Daytona, and you also think about the fact that these were set based on the duels, and we know how unpredictable those races can be anyway. But I look at this top 12 right here, and it's just a really good mix of returners and new drivers. That's kind of one thing that stuck out to me right away.
Right, and to go back to like the whole grid right here with Daytona, I mean, if you're not on that front row, I definitely personally want to be somewhere in the back, until it's time to make your charge, obviously towards the front. But you don't want to be too far back to where you fall off the draft, though. That's another thing you got to be careful of. Is someone gonna dunk out a line on the back stretch on the first lap to go to that back? And if they do, you got to be aware of how far you do go back before you lose that draft.
Yeah, exactly, and that's usually the strategy my team tries to employ. Is we we kind of sit at the back of that lead draft and kind of let some things happen, because to win these races you have to finish them, and that can be half the battle sometimes. So looks like we're almost ready to roll here tonight and start Speed Racing Network season number 5.
So you got a lot of Indiana residents in the grid here. Scroll through the rest of it. Alrighty. Alrighty, we're getting ready.
Green's out. Green flag.
Is out. Lap 1 of Daytona here at SRN Fiverr Truck Series starts now.
And we'll see how quickly some of these guys want to find their teammates. In some of the duels, the teammates are split heavy one way between duel 1 and duel number 2. So they might not be anywhere near each other. So it might take a couple laps for that to iron out. I think that's the shuffling we'll see early, rather than trying to get the lead.
Alright. Blair Holloman taking a nice little lead out in front. He's being pushed by Wally Babb in the 99. The outside line having a little trouble going here at the beginning. The 75 looking to jump down on the inside line, and he does. So inside line with a lot of speed here early on tonight.
This is also the first year that we're using custom-built fixed setups for all our series, and so that changes is how these trucks drive, contrary to the regular setup that they have. And the one big difference I noticed in driving the Xfinity setup, which is pretty similar to the one that we have designed for the trucks, there actually is a little bit of tire wear, and handling does come into play, as we got the 71 truck in the wall in the back.
In the middle. Sorry to cut you off there, but big issues back in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, that was kind of an odd incident right there, because it looked like guys were just trying to settle into that bottom line just as I started to talk about handling, and I'm guessing that was just a misjudgment, but we'll take a look at it here.
So it looks like this all starts right here with the Jason Green. Let's take a look and see what happened.
Looks like there were 2 separate incidences right there. The 55, well, that's a really good job keeping it off that inside wall, especially through the grass, because anybody that's wrecked on the backstretch here at Daytona knows how that grass is. But I think the major incident was up there with the 71. It looks like he just got put in the wall, or maybe didn't know somebody was to his outside. But that garage shop number 71, Tony Brown, I think that's what happened there. And then when he came back across, there was just, Michael Madden was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Oh, and the 8 just gets railroaded from behind.
Yep, and some other guy just checking up and getting into each other. The 2 might have a little bit of damage there. The 52 might have a touch as well. A couple of the garage shop machines got caught up in that a little early.
Alright. Well, lap 2 and caution is out here tonight.
And I just said that we were going to have a nice, easy first 15 laps, but, well, that hasn't been the case so far. Speeds, obviously, you've had a lot of success because you won a lot of super speedway races in SRN, so you might not have to deal with some of those incidences in the back. But give us some insight on how difficult it actually can be to avoid some of those incidents because you're running so close to one another.
It's very tight, especially with the air coming next to you. I think especially on a wreck that's in front of you that you're not involved in, you're more mirror driving, worried that people aren't going to stop. So there's just a lot going on in your mind as you're trying to slow down, and a lot of the times when you do make it out of something like that, you just take a deep breath and realize you got very, very lucky. I think this is one of the hardest tracks, as well as Talladega, to avoid because you're at a high speed, as well as everyone not seeing what's in front of them due to 4, 5, 6 cars in front of them. So it's just all hectic.
Yeah, and you know, I made that comment about the grass, and you could probably back me up. You know, you're probably all right until you hit the grass.
It's ice. There is no grass here. It's all ice. It's all make believe. Like you said, you touch it, You could hit the brake, you could hit the gas, you could hit them at the same time. It does what it wants to do. Hopefully you make it out of that one as well. Sometimes just throw it in the pits and slam on the brakes and stop is the best option.
Yeah, I think that's what was impressive about that 55 truck missing that inside wall, because it's not like he had a bunch of concrete patch before he got to the grass to woe it up. But we saw it with Ryan Blaney's wreck this weekend. I mean, sometimes you're just pitched at the wrong angle and the wheels don't catch, and I mean, that's an impressive save given the circumstances, because us that have run the endurance events here, or any Daytona road course event, I mean, that's where that bus stop is, and we've all clipped a blade of grass on the bus stop and then tore some stuff up. So
Absolutely.
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, might have just saved his entire race, especially being this early. No damage, just a little bit of aero damage may or may not have ruined the entire race for him. So that was a great save.
Yeah, and we don't run fast repairs here at SRN, so I mean, obviously a lot of race left. There's going to be some attrition, so even if you do get a little damage, you might still have a shot at doing something. But that truck's still going to be competitive, I think, is the big part there.
Absolutely.
Right.
All right, so we've had a couple laps under caution here. We didn't pick drivers before the race because we didn't want to curse anybody. I feel like that's over with now. So why don't we give it a shot? Chris, who's your pick for the race?
Let's see. You know what? I'm gonna go with the underdog here. I'm gonna go with Derek Da Silva back here in the 5 truck. I know he had a little bit of involvement in that last caution, but I firmly believe in underdogs in this type of situation, especially at this type of race. So if he doesn't have too much aero damage or anything, I mean, I'm gonna go with him.
I like that pick. I'm actually going to go with the truck we were looking at a little bit earlier there in 5th place, James Kerr. Obviously, he's driven for me in the past. Really good super speedway racer. So I would look for him. Speeds, who you got?
I'm going to go with number 3 in the 9 position, Jeff Radke. I personally know him as well. He's a great driver in every race we do, especially super speedways. I know in the duels he did pretty well with the team, so hope to see him up front tonight.
All right. So we'll hope that we don't curse anybody this race like had it happened a lot last season. But we're about to re-rack them and try it again here, and we're going to restart with 10 laps to go before the stage break.
Alrighty, pace car lights are off. Making their way around that big entrance into the tri-oval. Pace car's going to make a left turn down pit road. And we're set to go. Green flag racing here.
Green's out. Green flag. Green flag.
Green flag out. We are down to 6 laps off of the 60.
Blair Holloman back to the front. Ollie Babb slides in right behind him. Just what we saw earlier. Here comes everybody trying to funnel that inside line. And with that setup, what I was talking about before that caution, with some actually handling matters a little bit. I think that bottom is the preferred spot. We saw that top line die early. And if it doesn't have a lot of momentum, I believe it's just the tougher place to be.
You can see a few guys trying to form the top line. Hopefully they can make something work just so we can see what happens. But it's only about 5 of them, and they're all spread out. Let's see if they can get together.
Yeah, and when they're not real tight with one another, it makes it even harder. And you see that throughout the field now, how just dead that top line got when all those trucks started diving at the bottom. So I think A, it's part of handling. I think B, guys are just realizing, hey, there's a lot of racing left. 53 laps, 54 laps. I mean, it's a long way to go. But if I'm one of those drivers in the back, or I'm stuck on the top line, I kind of want to see what I can do with the top line now. Take some notes, see what you need to make it work, because at the end of the race, you're going to need that top line to work if you're trying to make your way to the front.
Right, and I think a big factor right now is, look on the right hand of your screen, we have the weather here tonight. Track temperature is only at 73 degrees when air temperature is at 71 degrees right now. So I think once that track starts heating up and these tires start getting a lot hotter also, we'll see that top line finally come to life. It looks like it's finally getting formed up. They might have some sort of run.
Yeah, looks like some more trucks jumped up top right there. And you see as soon as the majority trucks go to one lane, it's going to start switching which lane's dominating. And sometimes it isn't even a matter of how many trucks; it's just how tightly packed they are. You see a lot on the inside. We saw this in the duels as well. That inside line, for whatever reason, whether it just be some side draft from the top, tends to get separated. And as soon as they get separated, you just lose all that momentum because it's hard to stay right up against the bumper of the guy in front of you.
I'd like to see how hard the outside line pushes. Like you said, people may be waiting, but with the stage coming up soon, they may try to make a hard push on the outside and form together, like you're saying. If they get real tight, I think the outside line will push.
Yeah, and if you're one of those drivers that's kind of 20th on back, I think at this point you've kind of foregone the stage points. It's at this point with this many trucks in the race, it's so hard to make your way through the field. So those guys in the back probably like, all right, let's get to the stage caution in one piece. We'll see what we got. But if you're anywhere in the top 20, you're still thinking you can go get a couple points. And so I think that's why all that second groove start to work in there, and lines are pretty even. And then we just have that tail on the single file on the inside out the
Now, with this being the first race of the season, the win obviously locks you into the postseason, but then you talk about those points, like you were saying, those stage points right there. Is that something that we're going to, see a lot of fighting for going into the stage break? I mean, are points valuable right now?
I mean, I think every point matters. That's always the assumption and the methodology I've gone with. And the other reason for that is, kind of how me and Steve talked about pre-race, how we've been in SRN for pretty much the entire existence of the series. And every year in one of the series, there's a tie on the cut line to advance in the playoffs, or somebody misses by 1 or 2 points. And you can look back at any race and think, man, if I would have got, one spot in 2 races before the stage break, or I would have done this strategy and stayed in contention for stage points, how that would have been different. So I think it does matter. I think it starts obviously with this race. This race obviously being a wild card, this can be somebody's chance that may not necessarily have the highest racecraft lock themselves into the playoffs. But this does take some skill. I'm not discrediting Kyle Spee's achievements in here, but it's a good balance of having luck and having the right skill to know how to use the air and manipulate it to your advantage.
Right. Absolutely. I think a lot of it is luck. I say that as much as I can. And a lot of this track is luck. Hopefully, like you were saying, to go back to the point system, I think a lot of veterans are going to be thinking the way you are. Points matter immediately. I think a lot of veterans couldn't win, and myself, I can't win many races other than the super speedways. I got lucky with my wins there, but it's been tight. It's been hard battling. It's getting tougher every year we do it. I think a lot of people are going to be thinking, I need points now, so if I don't win, I can bump up 2-3 spots just on stage points alone.
Yeah, this is the first year that we've gone to the winning your end system as well, which is something that you didn't have when you were in SRN as a driver. So, thinking back, you might have been like, oh yeah, that would be extremely helpful. But I think it just adds to the level of aggression in a race like this because other guys know they have a chance. And they're coming up on a lap car right there who seems to be getting out of the way all right. You always worry about that at the super speedways.
Oh.
Maybe not. He's having a trouble holding that top line, and Daytona's a lot narrower than Talladega. It can actually be kind of tough to run 3 wide at points.
Still in the wall. Oh, they got through it. As we see, we got a first pitter.
Ooh,
Yeah, the 29 of James Jackson came down pit road right there, and it could very well be an overheating issue. You never know. You always think that's the number one thing at a track like this because tire wear is usually not a big deal, and they definitely don't need fuel yet, so it could have been an overheating issue or a connection issue. And obviously, us being on a virtual racetrack, sometimes drivers do need to go in there and fix up their connection to make sure they don't cause a lot of chaos. And connections especially important in a race like this where you're all packed together.
Oh, we got a 3 wide situation right there in the middle of the pack with 24 on the outside of the 43 and 25.
What determines what happens with that line is what the guy behind those two does, because whichever line.
Well,
Whatever line he chooses to go with will determine what line moves ahead. The admins pulled me there first.
there, I saw that happening 4 wide.
88 hit hard.
4 wide incident. I saw that happening with the 24 on the outside of that those 3 cars, but
Ooh, that's going to be quite a bit of damage, and that was coming to the stage, so that will be the stage caution. The admins just let us know that will be the stage.
go back here and see. So yeah, we see there 25, 43, 32, 24, all, not necessarily 4 wide, but it's pretty much there.
It's jumbled. That second line's running actually a little bit higher than the second groove, and I wonder if that just caused a misjudgment, but I think the initial contact here was with that 32 and 24. And then that's just in a bad part of the field. I mean, it's going to collect a lot of drivers. Yeah.
24 tried to get away, 32 just a little bit of a wobble going up.
And that's going to crush both of the DG Motorsports machines.
Oh man, the front end of who is that one? Is it the 25?
Hard to tell. These new schemes, all these new drivers, we don't know everybody yet. But yeah, both the 88 and the 89 for sure. That's going to be a tough go, missing those front bumpers. But
Yeah,
the
that was it. 89.
32, that's just a bad spot. I mean, I think if I was that 24, I might have just backed out of that situation, knowing that we're coming to the stage break, and that was just a touch outside of the chance to get stage points. And then we just talked about what level of aggression would you have to get those points. I don't know if that was a product of that, but that shows you kind of how much every point means if it was.
All right, let's ride along with the 80, 89 and see what happened here. For a minute there, it looked like he was free and clear.
Yeah, and there's just nowhere to go. You alluded to it earlier. It's wreck happens in front of you. You can't see through these things, so you're kind of either at the liability of your spotter if you got one telling you what's going on, or teammates that are running higher. But if you're right behind the initial contact like he was right there, really nothing you can do.
Nowhere to go. Absolutely. Yep. Even being a spotter here, it's hard to tell somebody to go low. There's really nowhere to go.
Yeah, sometimes you could start saying things, but it's just going to be too late. I mean,
it's a heartbreak either way, that's for sure. There was great avoidance in the back there as well. There's a couple guys that avoided a car sideways by inches.
Yeah,
so
I saw Mike Mosby,
avoidance.
One of our part-time drivers, longtime SRN driver as well. He had to get on the brakes and crank that thing all the way to the left to miss everything. Did a great job of narrowly missing, I think, the 89 sliding back across the track. So, you'll look back on that later in the race and go, man, that probably saved my race. But we'll see what happens with this 00 of Mosby the rest of the way. I know he's back there in the mid-20s. There's the 29 who we saw come down pit road. Stayed out, I believe, under this caution. So maybe he was just playing a little bit of early pit strategy. Now, you can pit here without going a lap down under green. So as long as you have somebody with you, I think that's a decent strategy to try to play.
Right, and see there on your screen, Ben Park, the winner of Stage 1, so he's going to get those extra points to start the season off right.
Yep, winner of Stage 1 and last season's Truck Series champion. So he's picking up right where he left off, per se. And, what's interesting is he won the championship last year, not because he just won every race and was dominating. He was consistent. He got as many points as he could get every week, and, what's a better way to do that than win stages?
He creeped into the top of the standings there late, real fast. And like you said, last year there wasn't the win and you were in, so there's a lot of people doing that, just being consistent, especially with myself. You don't have to win every single race to be consistent and be up at the top. And look, a prime example, won the entire thing, and he wasn't dominant on wins, but if you can stay consistent and be up front, you can still win a championship.
What I've noticed sometimes is, in any playoff format in racing, the guys that are competing for the title, sometimes they try just a little bit more, a little bit extra, and that gets them in trouble. They overstep the line, they try to do too much. But Ben last season kind of just kept doing his thing, wasn't ever trying to do too much, and avoided trouble and disaster. And I think that's what got him in the spot to win the championship, because you looked at a lot of the other guys that he was competing with in that final 5. there was a ton of like multi-race winners and lap leaders. But then they found themselves in trouble in that last race because they just tried to do a little bit too much, I think.
And I can see guys going to that same strategy still this year, even with the win in your in system. I think there will be multi-race winners where if they win multiple races, obviously that doesn't make somebody else win in their in. So, with that being said, I think points and strategy will be a key factor still this year, even with our format.
Yep. How many times have we seen, in NASCAR, Denny Hamlin win a bunch of races in a season, get to the end of the playoffs, and something happens, in his control or not, and he doesn't have a lot of extra points to fall back on because, it's either hero or zero. So, I think the champion this year is going to have to find that fine balance of winning a couple races, but also accumulating a lot of points and bonus points to fall back on.
Alrighty. Coming around turn 4's exit. Pace car is going to make that left off. And it looks like Matthew Moniak is going to be our
Green's out.
leader here
Green flag.
tonight.
Green flag.
Did not pit that last time by. Was in that last caution. Let's see what he can do out there.
Must not have too bad damage to kind of stay out after being in an incident and leading this thing. But we'll see what that truck's got. Fired off pretty decent right there.
I was kind of worried about the way he fired off. Luckily everyone behind him wasn't already stacked up in a line, or else he could have been just completely run over right there.
Yeah, exactly. And I can tell that the 13 truck's pushing hard. You see him wiggling a little bit there. So that 24 might have a little bit of aero damage that's costing him some pace. And you just see him dragging down that bottom line. So I think that truck's got a little bit of hurt to it, but can obviously still roll on a straight enough line.
All right. Blair Holloman quickly to the inside line, and he's going to come across. Hey, he's not quite going to be out in front. Looks like James Jackson going to lead that lap.
Really good push from Adam Schaefer there. Got James Jackson out in front right there, so he's going to lead his first lap as a driver in SRN, and then he's going to immediately dive to the bottom, get in front of Blair, and that top line's going to start fading a little bit like we saw earlier.
Yep, and there it goes. They've got 5 guys in that line. Second group is coming at full speed, but I don't think they're not gonna make it there in time to push them to the corner. So let's see what these guys can do.
And you just got those 5 trucks out there, kind of on an island, doing all they can. They're pushing pretty hard, but they have to push that hard just to stay there.
Right, and they seem to be holding the line pretty well. And they're not gonna have enough to lead that lap, but
Adam's close, and he was our dual number 2 winner last week, so he's already had a little bit of success on this track with this setup and that truck. Brand new driver, driving for one of our technical alliance teams this year. JBR formed a technical alliance with Bird Dog Racing, and that's one of the Bird Dog Racing drivers, and so he's off to a hot start in his young SRN career.
Alright, 20 laps down. We've got 40 laps to go here tonight. So with these last 40 laps, is it, when is the right time to make your move on this track? When do you want to be pushing towards that lead if you're in the back?
I think the biggest piece here, and Spees can touch on this a little bit, we still have to make a pit stop. And that can be quite the determining factor how the rest of your race goes. Because, you got to get on pit road cleanly, you got to get off cleanly, which is a challenge sometimes. But you also want to pit with teammates so you're able to keep your speed up and not lose the draft. You can't speed on pit road if you're pitting under green because that's just pretty much catastrophic. So I think, before we start thinking about what move's going to win this race, we got to think about how we're going to orchestrate these pit stops.
I agree with you 100%. I think the pit stop here is actually the move. I would categorize that as the move. You want to stay with your teammates, have great communication as far as who's going where going into pit road, because you all need to go in full speed and get as much as you can going into pit road. So when you come out together, you try to stay ahead or catch the draft on whoever pits first, as well as communication with teammates up front. There might be a team that pits that you may want to try to join with, and that may cause a crumble, or you see where guys are going and they may take your spot. So it's all going to be about communication, I think.
When we talked about pit road, but that that means we're gonna go green most of this race the rest of the way, and from what we're seeing on track, I don't know if the odds are high of that. So that money pit stop we're talking about might just happen under caution, but we'll wait and see. But no, all good points there. I mean, execution is very important on pit road here, even though it kind of gets swept under the rug because it's less about how many laps you stay out on your tires, on your fuel. It's more about just the pure execution.
Right. Definitely going to be interesting when that time comes, whether it's under caution or under the green flag. That fight to the end is going to be pretty impressive. We're going to see cars scattered all around the track in little groups of 4 or 5, or however it's going to end up coming down. And
now we have these 2 lines kind of distinctly forming back up, and pretty much everybody on the track is in this draft right here. Yep, actually everybody is. There are no trucks that are not in this pack, so everybody's back together. And kind of finishing up our pit stop conversation, the one key point I point out is in NASCAR a lot of times we see manufacturers come into play, but you look at the truck series here and there's a lot of Chevrolets. Yeah, very few Toyotas and not even fewer Fords. So, could it be more of a team thing? Possibly, but there's teams of 5 and there's teams of 2 out here. So, even playing the pit strategy with just your team can mean a big difference. It's good to see these 2 lines kind of get back together, though. People are starting to settle in. And, you kind of look through the field, and it looks like a lot of guys have now found their teammates. They're kind of lined up together, and probably right now just starting to log some laps.
Yeah, I think with the stage being over, a lot of people were going 3 wide, pushing it hard, like they were trying to get points. I think a lot of guys have settled in here and are just coasting. As well as saving fuel here does matter. If you sit behind somebody and not full throttle it, you can save a few laps. And a few laps here could change the end of this race completely.
Yeah, and we were talking in our team Discord the other night, what do we plan to do for these races? And we instantly said, well, it depends where we're at on the track. If you're out front, you're going to have to change kind of the way you think about pit strategy because you're burning a lot more fuel. If you're at the tail end of this pack and running 75% throttle around the entire track, and that means something totally different when it comes to how you're going to play your last pit stop. And then one thing we haven't touched on yet is, we have 60 laps in this race, but you don't want to budget just that many laps on fuel because how many times have we seen green-white checkers here at these super speedway races? And, last year for the truck series race at least, we saw more than 3 trucks run out of fuel on that last lap of that last green-white checker.
Yeah, I only had about a lap or 2 to spare, and you're saying put a little bit extra in there helps a ton. I actually think I had a few teammates that ran out of fuel because they put less than I did. So it's even with your teammates, everyone be on the same page. You make it to the end, especially when the going gets tough there at the end. A lot of people will be making moves. You never know. The start of this race was pretty hectic. Maybe the end of the race will be hectic, and we'll see how it goes.
Well, the end is always hectic, right, on these races. But, you bring up a very good point there. And I think kind of to wrap up that conversation, when you think about the fuel, you still have to balance how much you put in the truck. Because obviously if you put just enough to what you need, it's going to be lighter. You're going to be able to, probably draft up a little bit better, be a little bit quicker, especially on your moves right to left. But, you risk, like you just said, you get a couple green light checker attempts when you're looking down, you're trying to save all you can under caution. And you can do a lot of saving here, but it's still a 2.5 mile track. It's a long way around. So, just miscalculating by a lap or even half a lap can make a big difference.
Especially with not having 10 cars as well.
Exactly.
When we were talking about teams, people or drivers finally finding their teammates, the 99 and the 3 already making their run towards the front of the field. I believe they actually did lead a lap, or almost led a lap here a couple laps ago, but they're up there in front.
Yeah, you got that threat level midnight train starting to take over the outside there. They all found each other. And the bottom line is a pretty mixed bag of teams. A couple teammates mixed in there, but they're separated by a truck or 2. And then you kind of see on the top, towards the back of that line, you have the Bird Dog team kind of getting together. So it looks like slowly but surely teams are starting to find each other. And for those that don't know, each team is in their own channel during this race. They communicate the entire race back and forth, so they're able to kind of talk to each other and find out where they need to go. And that 20 truck almost wadded it up right there.
Yeah, that was a nice little back off that he made there to avoid that incident.
And I touched a little bit earlier on handling. And I like that this setup kind of brings in that to effect, because it A, makes them a little bit harder to drive, but B, you kind of have to think about where's the smart place to put your truck. And you see a lot of these guys get into the white, yellow line, and that truck's pushing up a little bit. Now, these front tires, especially the left front on these setups, will wear quite a bit. And so, if you're not thinking about that extra little effort to keep it on that yellow line, that truck will drift up a little bit. And obviously, if that second line's running you tight, a little drift up could be catastrophic.
See there, we're on board with Blair Holloman.
Longtime SRN driver returning, Blair Holloman, driving for High Tent Rev Racing this year with his teammates Danny Dow, Michael Madden, Nathan Nixon, Sean Kozier. We saw Madden getting a little trouble earlier. There's Kozier right there. Brown, one of our cameras run over and killed, I guess, in turn 1 and 2. There's Spencer Brown, one of the garage shop entries. Has teamed up with Sean, Tony, and the 20 truck that we saw sideways. That's their squad. They're 4 for the garage shop. A new team this year. You see the accordion effect, sitting in that in-truck view right there. And Speeds, you might be able to allude to how that accordion effect, you got to pay attention. You got to constantly be eyeing even a couple trucks in front of you.
Yeah, I always like to look through my car in front of me's windshield as much as I can to see what's going on in front of me. I know it's hard for some drivers because everyone has different driver heights, but if you can get left or right or see right through, you obviously want to see 2-3 cars in front.
Yeah, because sometimes if you're not paying enough attention and it bunches up, you see either because of a block or something else happens. We see accidents that could have been avoided. But it's just a product of them running inches apart at this speed for this many laps. I mean, it's hard to stay focused the entire time. It only takes a small lapse of focus for some incident to happen on track.
A lot of shuffling going on there in both lines, but it looks like 2 of the Midnight guys are going to be up in front right now.
Yeah, running side by side teammates, and there's a lap car there on the bottom they're going to have to navigate around. I think he's going to stay out of the way. We'll see if he chooses to stay up on the track. Sometimes they'll ride the apron and give the pack even more room, but it looks like they're just going to ride that low line, so everybody's going to have to move up. That's the 24 Pontiac.
And he did just pit a couple laps ago, so I'm real interested to see what strategy he's running.
Well, also, he did not pit at the stage, so I think he needed fuel at that point. Is probably why he came down. He can make it to the end from here, though, because he pitted pretty much exactly at halfway. He might need a caution, probably, to make it for sure, but being a lap down is not going to help him.
No, definitely not, especially if you don't have anybody back there with you. You're just going to get swallowed up. And
now, if you can stay a lap down hooked up to this pack, and he's going to be racing Michael Madden as the only other car 1 lap down. If you stay up in this pack and be able to get in front of that 15, if caution does come out, obviously being the lucky dog will be a huge advantage. In a place like this where not everybody has to pit every time, usually the wave around isn't as lucrative as a lucky dog, but you can still race to get your laps back, but you have to hope and pray that there's a caution before this race is over.
Right, and we've seen crazier things happen at Daytona through the years, so maybe the strategy actually plays out in his favor.
Yeah, we'll see. And the one thing whenever I've been a lap down at a super speedway that I can always bag is to go, hey, as long as I'm in the lucky dog position, I don't have to get up in the mess. I'll stay back here, protect the truck, let things play out. Typically at the end of these races, not saying it's going to happen, but caution's breed caution. So even if you're one of 3 trucks a lap down, there is a chance that you can still get a lap back, and they're coming up on another lap truck here.
All right, so when do we start talking about pit stops?
I think in about 10 laps or so would probably be a good estimate. I mean, they won't be completely empty at that point, but I think you want to stop where you can maybe just take one can and spend less time on pit road, because I think you can get away with just taking left side tires. I don't think you need to take 4 tires. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I say don't get tires at all, just from experience. I know we just had an update, so the tires may be different, but from what I've seen so far in the race, and everyone's holding great lines, no one's really eating tire. I think you go no tires, get the can of fuel like you said, get out and stay out front.
Oh yeah, definitely. I have to piggyback that one and agree. Tires don't seem to be a major issue here tonight.
We're coming up on another lap truck, and this one's going to take the high line. So you see how we've had 1 take the low line and 2 take the high line. So these leaders are doing a great job navigating these lap cars. Because it's easy if you're not paying attention to where they are, because they can, I am on the assumption it's always the faster car's responsibility to find themselves around the slower car. And so far they've done a great job of doing just that. But, from what I've experienced and talked to the guys with on these new custom fixed setups we have, the left side tire wear is substantial enough to maybe make a difference. And for me, I would rather have fresh tires on the left side, all that grip and confidence to make those big moves at the end of the race, rather than, just holding on to some tires, maybe a little less grip. You can still be confident in your moves, but that confidence might end badly. I'd rather know, okay, 100% I'm going to be able to drive this truck, steer it here, and it's going to stick.
Absolutely. I think as well, if it all depends on how these guys enter pit road. If a couple of guys going in there hot and and their tires pretty hard, they may want to take that left sides and keep fresh tires just so they have a little bit of grip, or just try to get as much time as possible. I think as well, just to go back to your laps, I personally would try to pit sooner than 10 with my team. I think if those guys get in there quick, get fuel, get out, and just go bumper to bumper, you could almost stay out in front of the entire group.
Yeah, that's likely the truth, and we talked about teams, and we keep bringing it up because we actually run a team championship here at SRN as well. Something kind of unique we do. Each team, their top 3 finishers will accumulate points all season. Top 3 finishers in the team standings get a payout, and you're going to be working with those teams here. Okay, are you going to take 2? Are you going to take none? You want your whole team to be on the same page, because we see how important the draft is. Just them riding around here, it's even more important coming on and off pit road. Because if you do not have the draft, you take 2 and the rest of your team takes 0 and you lag behind, that can maybe sometimes cost you a lap.
Yeah, it looks like up here the 1, 2, and 3 we got Threat Level Midnight, and 54 of Jason Kratzke is actually they're in 7th position. So all 4 of those guys up here in the top 10. I know they are missing one of their drivers, the 45 or the 46 here tonight.
The 46 is missing tonight.
Yeah.
Yes. Qualified on the pole.
He was very upset he couldn't make it. I wasn't part of Threat Level last year, so shout out to him. But yeah, he couldn't make it tonight. Very disappointed. He had a great duel. But he'll have a great season, hopefully, and he'll be back next race.
Well, and the benefit of him winning that duel is he has 10 points. So I know he missed this race, but hey, 10 points.
Starting with something.
Looks like they're starting to line up. Do you think pit stops are going to start coming here soon?
That's what I was just thinking.
I'm going to have to agree with you.
Yeah, you're seeing everybody get to the bottom. That's usually a sign that guys are going to start thinking about it. We have 1 peeling off. Oh, 1. That's going to be unfortunate.
That is very.
I think that was the 29. Yep, 29 of James Jackson peeled off all by himself, and he's the only independent driver in the field. So you kind of see how that plays into the factor. I mean, if you're not on the team, you don't have that communication. Sometimes that's a problem. But you see guys starting to group up here. I think pit stops are intimate.
The backpack's starting to come forward as well, trying to keep close. So I think you're correct. I think all these pits are going to be happening within the next 5 laps, I would say.
And guys are really spread out now, so that's just, they're trying to find their teammates, trying to get in line. Here we go. Yep, Threat Level's coming.
Big pit.
High Temp Rev Racing's coming. Bird Dog's coming. Ooh, we got 4Y getting on the pit road. That could be tough sometimes. Looks like everybody made it
Great job.
past the cone. Yeah, that's
Excellent.
for that many trucks pitting. That's a great job.
Got one guy that just got spun in pits there. Jason Cracky got spun in pits.
Cracky got spun.
Man, that's
And he
We
was
got
kind
another
of
guy sideways in pits as well. Spencer Brown was sideways.
we talked about how not easy it is to get on pit road, and that's part of it. And luckily, I mean, you'll lose some time, but we'll see if they are able to group up with other trucks and avoid being a lap down. I don't think they'll lose that much time because they were in that lead pack. So it looks like PBR is the only team out there still, and here they come.
There's about 20 guys that pit in that first group. Only 2 of them got taken out. That still was a great job by all those guys pitting. That was very tight. Like you said, 4Y going into pit road can get dicey, and they all handled it pretty good.
Yeah, considering how all fanned out they were, that's key. I mean, that's hard to do, and PBR stayed out that extra lap, so they'll be together. You see on the track map here how you have all these little pockets. And Chris, you kind of said that earlier. We'll have all these little groups of trucks that are kind of being little drafting packs, and they got to kind of work together if they're a single file line, just like we're seeing with the level trucks right here. And we have a caution on the speedway. Oh, this is I guess this is going to be interesting because Radke just cycled out to the lead right there as he passed the cars coming off pit road. I don't know if iRacing's going to give him the lead.
I don't see any wreck.
Adam Schaefer is on pit road, it looks like, the 21 truck. And he already pitted, so that might have been that might have been
sure,
21.
but that looked like maybe it had to do with pitting and another fast group coming up, and it might have just come all together there, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, back there, big wreck coming off of 4.
See, and that doesn't show up to go to either. So we're gonna have to rewind to it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to go back and see. I know we were looking at the leaders there.
Who is that back there?
I think the 21 was part of it. The 21, the 7, the 8, the 75. This would probably be a good view of it right here, coming off turn 4. Oh, somebody got turned down into the 21. I think that was the 55. Ooh, that 21 truck is going to be junked. Yeah, there's the 55. It looks like the 55 was on the top line there. If we run it back and got turned down to the 21, this would be a great view of it here. That was weird. The truck just on the left. Because it didn't look like the 8 was that close to him there.
Looks like you got pushed too hard coming out of 4 there, in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and see if those trucks were actually bump drafting, because from the couple frames before, it looked like they were still separated. You see, you got a couple trucks here on the end. I'm just hearing from the admins it was a net-coded incident.
I was just going to mention that and was hoping it wasn't that. But sometimes net code happens.
Yeah, because the 8 never touched the 55.
55
Wow.
just that ghost there got him loose there.
Okay,
I wonder if that ghost
our
car
audience,
on the inside had something to do with that.
That could be it.
Unfortunately, I did see him ghost out there. That may have affected the group that he was in.
Let's go from above.
and for our audience that doesn't know what netcode is, oh, that's awful. That's actually a discrepancy between the sim and when the internet is like how they communicate and how they line up in real time. Sometimes there's a discrepancy, and iRacing will predict contact between two vehicles before they actually make contact, and you'll see a gap in between the two trucks, and that's what happened. So, and that's unfortunate. That's one of the worst net-coded incidents I've seen in a long time. That sucks for all those guys too, because that was nobody's fault. I mean, it was predicted contact, but I think even a contact between those trucks would have been a normal bump draft there.
I think the real explanation for it is the iRacing gods said, we don't need this race to end with all these groups out here. Let's stack it back up.
And that they did, and you know, it looks like we'll restart somewhere around 15 to go. So it'll kind of be a repeat of what we saw for a run to start this race. But obviously the 21 truck there, the 55, that's going to be big damage for those two. Some of the other guys kind of went up against the wall and just kind of scraped it up there, and I think they'll be okay. I mean, I think a little bit of damage on the side of these trucks isn't killer, but anytime you knock the front end of these trucks off, there's really not a lot of options for you. And Speeds, you can talk about how valuable it is, even if you are a truck like that 21 or 55 that has big damage, how important it is to actually stay in this race and get that damage fixed.
Yeah, just like trying to stay in it and get stage points, any points at all are a benefit. And then, like I said, you might not be thinking about it week 1 through 5 on finishing a race, but when you're in the last week of the race and you miss it by 2 points and you realize maybe I should have stayed in the race, then you're like, man, I'm gonna keep doing that next season, and then people stay in it, which is a big key here. So hopefully these guys can fix as much damage as they can and get back out here.
Yeah, and let's take a look now at the front of the field, because now the running order is completely shaken up, because remember, we were in a pit cycle, and those PVR trucks were the last ones to pit, and they were on pit road when that caution came out. And look at 1-2. We got PVR trucks 1-2.
Mm-hmm.
And iRacing's still sorting this out, so that's why you see trucks all over the place. I think they're going to extend this caution lap here.
Are these guys ahead of the pace car?
Well, they were ahead on the scoring loop, and now it's recycled, and the 3 is shown as the leader. So they're currently sorting it out. I think they're going to let this go next to caution lap. They're going to get the field bunch back together. You see the 87 there coming to the inside, trying to get back to the front. I mean, that's just a product of a caution during the pit cycle. It jumbles everything up
on the track.
Right. Pace car came out in the middle of it.
Yeah, the pace car came out exactly as that group was exiting pit road. So that's kind of just the worst case scenario. It's kind of just as bad as having a yellow before everybody crosses the start line to the start of the race. iRacing is a computer system. It's not a human being up there.
Green flag.
So it actually, I think they should be adding a caution lap here.
Yellow, yellow, yellow.
Can't believe iRacing wanted to go green.
Yeah, unfortunately, like I said, it's a glitch in the system, and it happens when tough spots like that occur, and it's unfortunate. Luckily tonight it doesn't factor in as far as gas or tires. Everyone just pit. Everyone should make it to the end here, so we should get a good finish. Side by side, hopefully, or maybe single file to the end, but hopefully it's a good ending tonight.
So let's see. It looks like out of all 3 of our picks, Jeff Radke up here in that number 3 car is actually sitting in 3rd place. So it looks like he is, as of this moment, he's the best finisher out of our 3 picks.
Still a long way to go. I do see your 2 picks. Never know what can happen. I do see James Kerr still there. It's in 13th. Maybe he could come up here and make a move.
And De Silva back there in 16th, up 9 positions. Let's jump right into that, actually. Biggest mover here tonight, Matt Greathouse, up 34 positions.
What a night.
It looks like they're going to have to creep to a really slow crawl. I mean, that pace back there is at, 60 miles per hour here, so they're going to have to really slow it down.
Gives a lot of time for these guys to think about what they're going to do here in the last 14 laps tonight.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they're both going to start 1-2 here tonight for this restart.
Yeah, you'd be interested to see if they try to get together here and let one get in front and get in drafts, or just hold both lines. I think tonight with the truck especially, we could see through wide, but you never know what could happen. See if they work together or just try to hold both lines and maybe go 1-2.
I just got done talking to the admin team there. Thank you guys for holding the booth up while I was gone. So iRacing glitched. Before I left, I was saying it's not a human being, it's a computer system. Things don't happen perfectly, especially in less than ideal scenarios. And that's what just happened. So iRacing kind of glitched there. So what they're going to do, they let it green. they immediately threw the caution back. They're going to let the field double up and reset here, and then we'll just fire off from there. So the 87 and the 51 will be the leaders. So the pylon you see on the left is the order they're going to line up in. The 87 and the 51 here are just waiting on that pace car, and there goes the lucky dog and the pace car. So momentarily we will get this lined back up, and should have a fun race to the end.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you heard me touch base on it, but the 51 up 34 spots here tonight in second place right now.
Yes, he missed the duels, so he had to start in the back, almost second. Yeah, I think he started second to last in 39th, actually. So he's done a great job, getting with his teammates, working his way up through the field. So Matt Greathouse, returning driver, had good success here in SRN, has made quick work making his way up the field. And we still have a majority of this field running. Not every truck is obviously going to be competitive with the various amounts of damage, but I think we have about 25 trucks total that still have a chance at this race.
32 still on the lead lap out of 37 is a great race. Anywhere you are from 1 to 32. So long as they can stay not a lap down, if you can get points and stay above the lap, maybe something at the end happens.
Yeah, and to be 45 laps into a super speedway race and still have 30-something cars running is actually pretty good.
Absolutely.
So I don't think anybody will pit here. I think everybody's made their last stops. The guys you currently see on pit road, I think, are just getting the rest of that damage fixed if they have any, and then recycle this. So
yeah, so I guess that's kind of the good thing with that extra 2 caution laps here, is giving another chance to those guys with damage, like you were saying, to come back in and get a little bit more fixed. If somebody doesn't think they have enough gas to go green white checker, that gives them opportunity to come in and get a little splash and go. So I guess there's a little bit of a silver lining with this extra caution being thrown here to get lined up.
And if some of those guys weren't sure if they had enough or whatever, they could save a little bit under this caution. But then also, if you're in the back, just like what you said, I'm going to come down here, I'm going to top off. Then I know for sure, hey, I'm good, even if we do have 3 green-white checkers, whatever happens, right? And it also, the extra caution has allowed all the running trucks, I believe, to get back on the lead laps. So no more lap down trucks. It's going to be everybody fighting for this one. And like we said, 2 guys up here we haven't talked about yet tonight with Andrew Harris and Matt Greathouse, and 2 very capable drivers that are probably going to duke this one out. They are teammates, and you always wonder, are teammates going to play friendly when it comes to going for a win?
Yeah, I think we see right off the bat these 2 line up, and then the 3 and the 99 line up. But that's the one thing I'd be a little afraid, is letting the 3 and the 99 line up together. I mean, they've shown a lot of speed here tonight, and I think this is going to be a very interesting green flag.
Yeah, and we don't have the choose rule here. I mean, if we did, you would obviously, I think the 2 teammates on each of the first 2 rows would line up, but right now they're split. So it'll be interesting to see how they shuffle this here, and also do it in a way that doesn't put either of their races at risk.
Yeah, I think we'll see the 99 give the 51 a nice little shove. 51 jump out in front of the 87, and that leaves the 3 and the 99.
Green flag, green flag.
All right, back to green here. 12 to go. Big jump by the 87. I think the 51's going to try to get in behind him if he can. The 3's got a really good run, though. Going to block that hole. And then the 2 jumps in it, so no holes now on the bottom line.
Alright, 99 pushing the crap out of the 51 here. These guys have a good run as a little pair of them.
The next 2 are starting to come back to the top line there. Now top line's got 6, 7. Here comes 8 trucks now. So looks like we're evening up front.
Alright, everything seems to be going well at this moment in time.
Yep, 2 by 2 all the way back. Lots of pushing, lots of shoving. It's kind of the point where the aggressive meter has been turned up. Everybody's going to try to get themselves in position to win this race. I think now that we've had the pit stops and all that, we can now have the discussion of the race-winning move.
Yeah, I'm trying to put myself in their shoes. It all comes down to, like I said earlier, it's, this is a track with luck, but also talent. I mean, you've got to know when the right time to make your move is and where you're going to make that move before you even do it. I mean, this isn't just a track where you're just like, all of a sudden, oh, I'm going to go up the middle. You've got to plan that out accordingly to, obviously you can't plan out like, oh, okay, in 2 more turns, I'm going to take the middle line because it may not be there.
Right. Yeah, and when it's 2x2 like this, there's really not a lot of options. You're gonna have to take it 3 wide, I think, if it stays like this. But if it's single file and you're right behind somebody, the general rule of thumb is to kind of wait till the last moment you think possible to make that move. Now you have to stay above the double yellow line. Just like NASCAR, you can't pass down there. But I think you just wait to the last minute, but if it stays like this, if that move gets tougher, you're going to have to split middle of 3 wide, which, I mean, unfortunately usually ends in a little bit of carnage.
Exactly.
But you see the bottom line now starting to pull out a little bit. They've just been a little bit better organized the last lap and a half, 2 laps. And so you're starting to see that, and then the top line comes back. Another truck jumped up there and closed those holes, and now they got a good run coming back.
I think a lot of that has to do with communication between Wally and Jeff there. I know the teammates were foot level. I think one could be saying, I'm pulling out in front. Maybe he slows down a little bit, let the top run, get next to him. Like you're saying, if one or the other waits
we
till
got a
last
truck in the wall in the
Yeah.
backstretch. Yep, and then a couple go spinning.
Oh, and
Yellow
it just
flag is
keeps
out.
on
Still wrecked in the
collecting.
backstretch. That's going to bring out our 5th caution of the day right there. Back of the field. It looked like...
The 7 might have... It's like Daniel Park.
Yeah, it started up there against the wall, and you see one truck out of line. That's usually where you want to go. Oh, yeah. Yep. He was out there. I don't know if that other truck knew he was out there. Tough to see who it was. And then it's just scattering after that. The 20 is at the 28. That's the case. Those are teammates that just put each other in the fence. I think 28 will be okay. That's who that is.
Oh, yeah, the 7
Osby got a little bit of
28.
damage there. And you play this, if you play this kind of slower here, you'll notice. So interesting. The 15 put it middle. The 7 went up. Just a bad spot. 28 doesn't know he's there, and then all these guys just, I mean, there's nowhere to go. You're checking up. 23 involved. 00. Hard hit for the 23, Sean Griffith. 00 got a good piece. 20 truck, great job driving it through the grass there.
Yeah.
Just took it left and tried to avoid everything.
Getting some yard work done while he's at it.
Yep, doing a little bit of mowing there. Truck looks fine. I think that thing will survive.
I'm not sure he had anywhere else to go. As you can see, there's 3 cars in front of him sideways. I think he made the right decision.
And you kind of hope when something like that happens, it happens right there on the backstretch, because it's where the most room is, other than like entering and exiting the trioval, where you have room to pull off and avoid without doing it. Because in the corner you have to cross that banking. It's really steep, and sometimes you can just spin yourself out crossing it the wrong way. So even though that was probably the best part on the track for it to happen for wreck avoidance, it still collected quite a few trucks there.
Absolutely. As well as going in the grass there. He may have survived and it looks good, but sometimes you can hit that grass just the wrong spot and you will go airborne and you land on 4 tires spinning, you may not be straight anymore. So luckily he hit the right spot, avoided it all, and still in the race tonight.
And the 21 truck, Adam Schaefer, updating us in the comment section, letting us know that he was released from the infield care center. He'll be entering SRN's concussion protocol and will be out next week. So there you go. Adam letting us know what's happening.
Wish him a speedy recovery.
Yes. Obviously we love what we do here. And the chance of injury is very low. But we do think about all those drivers, and especially the ones that go through concussion protocol. And why we have a second here, I think it's big that we point out how impressive it is nowadays for drivers to, raise their hand when they know something's not right. And I think we see that across all sports now, but it's something that started to trickle its way into racing. And so I give props for those drivers that are willing to step out of their own seat, because that's the hardest thing to do.
It's like Adam Schaefer, luckily next week is off because of the 4th of
Yep.
July.
He'll have an extra recovery week, but he does use VR, so that was probably a pretty violent. May have taken a second for his head to stop spinning. And when you use iRacing in VR, some of those wrecks can be violent, and he got sent up to the wall pretty good. So he probably did actually have to take a second after that to take a breath.
It's definitely
We are off
something.
next week.
You say that's definitely something I can, I can piggyback even without being in VR, having the 3 screens. I mean, when you're in the headset and all you hear is the engine sound and there's nobody bothering you, and you're just, you're in that car. I mean, just getting turned into a wall can kind of sometimes send like a shock through your body. Like you actually start to feel like you're really in that car.
Yeah, and I've had some pretty amazing looking flips in my iRacing career, and I couldn't imagine them doing them if I was on triple screens or VR. That would just be 10 times worse. But like you said, we are off next week, 4th of July week. We are not holding a race. So these guys will have a whole week to think about what happened for the races this week. And then the week after, we are back for Las Vegas for all 3 series.
Ooh, my favorite track.
It's a good one. It hasn't been scanned in a long time in iRacing, which I think makes it a little better because it has a lot more character. Really bumpy. Tire wear is going to be key. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a fun track. One of my top. But we're going to restart pretty much in the same order. I mean, 99 behind the 51, the 3 behind the 87. It's just flip-flopped on the lanes. So, I mean, we saw 99 pushing that 51 really great on that restart. So, now that they have the inside line, I mean, what do you think's going to happen here? I mean, are we going to see the 99 give a nice push that 51, allow the 3 to slide down, or?
I think so, because that 99 was just really good at pushing. But what's interesting to me is the leader actually gets to choose which line they want to be in. The rest of the field can't. So I'm kind of surprised that they didn't try to go back and repeat what happened last time with those 2. But we'll see what happens here. I think that 99 is going to give a good shove to the bottom line. They're going to get out in front, but then I think we're going to see a bunch of jostling.
I mean, we touched on it a little bit earlier. Cautions, breeding cautions. Going to come to the green flag with 5 laps to go.
Green's out. Green
I guess we'll have
flag.
to wait
Green
and
flag.
see.
Yep, 5 to go. Good push on that inside line. Huge jump for the 51 truck. He's going to be out in front of everybody by about 2 truck lengths. Quickly going to fall back into the clutches of the field.
Outside has about 6-7 cars coming behind him, and a huge gap on the inside, and we'll see the outside run here at the end.
Yeah, looks like that inside line just kind of dead right now. I mean, we got a group of 4 in the front, and then it's a gap to 2, and then a gap to the rest. Hopefully they can get something lined up here.
We still have all 30 trucks on track in this lead pack, so it's a strong group, and they're going to be. You see how those holes are starting to close up now. As guys are starting to figure out what line they want to be in, where they want to be. But up front, that 51's getting a really good push from the 99.
Alrighty, 4 laps to go this time by.
They're thinking about flirting with 3 wide, a couple rows back.
Yeah, the 33
Lot better of
Stahl. Corey Stahl at 33 looking to make it 3 wide. He's going to the inside. Looking to the inside at least.
Yellow, yellow, yellow.
And
That's a wreck. Big wreck. Yep. He was looking inside right there, and that wadded up a few trucks. That's going to get most of the field in the mid-pack.
Oh, so he's in
Yeah, you see it right there. Right behind Nathan Nixon there, the 33 of Corey Stahl. Tried to take it 3 wide. We'll see what happens here. That's a tough spot getting in the corner. And he just gets into his left rear. Oh, gets the 2. 91.
Oh, man.
Oh, big. Oh, my gosh.
Big hit for the 7. Jeez.
7 truck got some airtime. The 28 hit the 75 really hard there at the end. All these guys in the back just scattering. You know what I noticed with the 33, if you go back and look at that, he was trying to make it 3 wide, but he didn't commit. I mean, is that what you guys are seeing too? I mean, if you commit to making it 3 wide, I feel like it could have been a little lower, but he kind of rode up high behind the 38.
Yeah, it looks like back here further off the exit. Looks like he wanted to. He saw a 38 go up high, and so
Yeah, but he kind of stayed up
Yeah.
there and just got the 38 in a bad spot. Oh man, that 7 truck hit hard. Hard hits for the 5, the 55.
yeah, let's go. What's this
Oh
roll bar
man,
view of that
64
7?
barely missed the end of that.
All right, let's run on with the 7 here.
Yeah, I'd like to know how he felt with the car inside. I think that had something to do with why he was so close. I think he was closer to the inside truck, which he had more room, but I think he might have mentally thought he didn't have enough.
Other cars, it's the 2. 2's got some heavy damage on the front end, but that's
The trucks are
Daniel.
looking toasted. But I mean, valid points there, and I think that's a product of also the iRacing spotter doesn't give you a ton of information. You know, if he actually had a spotter, I think that would have been a little bit different outcome, though. He would have known exactly what line he was running in. This is just, you don't want to see this. I mean, good job getting stopped. Oh, that 8 truck was, wow.
Nice job on the avoidance there. I mean, not really anything to avoid, but coming to a complete stop, like you said.
Yeah, that's the 64 Watt-Lipicki veteran, you know, kind of just buying his time back there and just saw the wreck, got on the brakes, let everything unfold, let the truck slide down the banking, and then made his way through. That's a really good job right there.
Days of Thunder played through his entire mind seeing that, I tell you what.
Oh, looks like now it's going to be the 51 and the 99 on the front row on this next restart.
Yeah, let's run through our top 10 real quick, because some of these guys we haven't even talked about all day. Matthew Greathouse still leading this thing. 99 Wally Babb behind him. Then Andrew Harris right behind him. Blair Holloman in 4th. Jeff Radke in 5th. So the top 5 we've seen run up front pretty much all day, but then we start to get some of the guys that have just been buying their time this whole race. Ben Park in the 13 and 6th. Sean Cochran in the 43 and 7th. James Jackson, remember, he made that unscheduled pit stop all the way back up to 8th with a clean truck. Jason Tripp, who was in a little bit of that last incident, is in 9th. With so few laps to go, I think he's going to stay up there. Then Jacob Zala in 10th, who we haven't talked about all day. He's just been kind of doing what we just saw Walt doing, is riding in the back, buying his time, and it's paying off. Matthew Moniak there in 11th. And the rest of the field is still cycling here, but it looks like they're starting to right grid. And, you know, we're at the point now, correct me if I'm wrong, but even if you do get a little bit of damage in one of these wrecks, there's too few laps left. I think you got to keep whatever track position you have.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, if we have too many, how many green white checkers do we have?
We have 3. We'll have 3 attempts.
So, I mean, do we see fuel being an issue here? I mean,
it could be. I think a lot of the guys, though, when we had that caution before this one came down and topped off, especially the back half. Now, I can't speak for the 51, 99, 87, but you also remember the PVR team was coming off pit road when that caution came out during the pit cycle, right? So they have a lap better than everybody else who hasn't come back. So
yeah,
that could definitely play to their advantage too.
Absolutely. I also think that the extra caution lap we did do to cycle that field puts a lot of factor into how many people can finish this race. I personally don't think many guys will run out of fuel. We may say 1 or 2, but I think that extra lap made the guys that may actually run out make it to the end here tonight.
That's what I was going to kind of lean on is, you know, we have had majority of these laps in the last 20 laps have been all on caution. So that's going to save a lot of fuel. Just looking right now, 69 degrees air temp, but 72 on the track. So the track actually has not increased at all. And I think that just has to deal with nighttime on this track right now. And then temperatures down to 69 degrees.
93% humidity, though. That's sticky if you're out there at the virtual Daytona International Speedway tonight, but
12 miles per hour for the wind as well, so I mean that's also gonna not so much with this truck because this truck is so heavy. I mean, if it was more of the next gen, I think that wind would definitely cause some sort of possible issues, but I don't think we're going to see that here tonight.
Yeah, I
Green,
agree
green,
with you
green.
there. All right, we're back to green here. First attempt at a green-white checker, I think.
All right, so it looks like teammates lined up here. Seen a little
Jostling back in
around.
the pack. Guys are trying to get position. 13 Ben Park now we see crossing over, being the third car in line on the bottom. The two lines are starting to form up. Ooh, a little bit of close calls in the middle of the pack there. Everybody's getting it sorted out. No 3-wide action yet. I think we're going to come to the white before we see some of that.
Time for those trucks that get good runs to kind of skip through. I mean, you're going to see a lot of bouncing
Yellow,
up.
yellow,
down.
yellow.
Caution's out. We got a wreck in the back. 83, 96, 91, 64 involved. 8, 33. Still wrecking back there. We're going to get another attempt up here. See what happens. Kind of in the second pack, you see right after this break. 91 adjacent trip. Oh! I don't know where he was going. I guess in the inside line and got the 96 there. Ooh, 75, big hit at the end.
Looks like a lot of patience are gone, and we're going to see a lot of mistakes of jumping
Yeah, the
down
5
or
lost the
jumping
front
up.
bumper. That's never good. Yeah, I guess the 91 was trying to get to that inside line there. He might have thought there was a hole, but that 96, I think, who was inside of him right there. Yeah, there was just no space. No space.
Not sure if he thought he was clear or if it was just a little misdirection on the wheel.
I mean, the closing rates are so high too. I could see him looking in his mirror. I got space, but you look back forward and then look in your mirror again. It could be gone that quick. You could see it right there. It looked like there was a gap there for a second, and then there just wasn't. I think that was a 97 that, oh my gosh, narrowly stuck by that on the outside. Sean Kozier, ooh, narrowly got that one. And then now the 552 get involved there. 75. 8 does an incredible job. We might have to ride along with the 8 getting through that. He did a great job splitting the middle of that right there. See bumpers sliding across the track. That's part of that new damage model that iRacing has on these trucks. Well, right along with the 8 of Nicholas Lawrence here, Lucas Oil Machine. See what he can see. Does a good job keeping it under control in the apron. Got a little door damage there, but whoa.
Nice avoidance right there. The 5.
That is nice. That could have been a lot worse for the 8. I think a little bit of door damage is okay. That was a good avoidance there.
All right, so we're gonna rack them back up.
I think this will be
For
the
a
second
second.
attempt. Yeah, I think the first one was an attempt. We didn't have enough laps left, so this will be the second of 3 attempts. Looks like the top 14 trucks are completely unscathed at this point, or they look good. From 15th on back, it doesn't look great, but I think that's just a product of your super speedway racing.
Like you guys said, cautions bring cautions. Unfortunately, we've had tough racing here at the end, bring out more cautions, but hopefully we can finish this race clean, see a good finish tonight, and move on in a couple weeks to Las Vegas.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to see it end under caution, so always enjoy seeing that final push through the tri-oval here, as well as Dega.
And another new thing that we'll see this year is after the race, we'll talk to the top 3, but then we'll talk to anybody else waiting around to talk to us. So we'll probably get to hear a wide variety of perspectives.
Heck yeah! So I get to run down the pit road.
Yeah, that's right. We gotta scatter pit reporters everywhere down there. But we find that unique, at SRN mainly because we want to have everybody give a chance to get their sponsors that added value of mentioning them and talking about them on the broadcast. But also, I think it's just as important that we get a perspective of a guy that finished 15th as well as the guy that finished second, because there are two completely different tales to get to that point in the race, and we love all the insight we can get here at SRN.
Alrighty, pace car lights are off. Looks like we are set to go back to racing for the second attempt at a green-white checkered. Alrighty.
Doubling up here, and we see a repeat of, almost a repeat of what we saw in the last one. The 99 will be back behind the 51 on the inside. The 87 has the 10 now behind him, so a little bit different pusher on that top line, but a very experienced driver in Blair Holloman. So we'll see what these two lines can do. I think the most important cars in this restart right here are the two trucks in the second row, with Wally Babb, Blair Holloman, because they're going to kind of determine how the flow of these two lines get going.
Alrighty, pace car entering turn 3. It looks like Matthew Moniak sitting there in the 9th position after being involved in that second caution at the beginning of this race, and then following a lap down after stage break, pit stops. Having the pit, an unscheduled pit stop.
If you're still in it, you have a chance to win it. And we're about to find out here.
Alright, pace car making that left turn down pit road. Set to go green.
Green, green, green.
Green flag is out.
Another good jump by the 51. Not going to be able to pick whichever line he wants. Be interested to see if he stays with the 99 and gets in front of his teammate in the 87. Stays with the bottom. Stays with the push from the 99. Top line's got a lot of juice coming here, though, with the 3. Radke linking up to the back. James Jackson now making it 4 deep up top.
Looks like we're getting pretty spread apart there, about midway to the back.
Still some damaged trucks back there, and that's kind of going to scatter things. But it's tight here up front with about the top 13. 87 now on the top line in the lead with a good push from the 10 of Blair Holloman. All right, here we go. This race will be official if they get to the white flag unscathed. Looks like they will. Matthew Greathouse currently in control of this one.
Now we start talking moves. When's the time to make that move if you're in 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th?
I would keep an eye on that 99 truck a lot bad. He's pushing the crap out of the 51, all he can push him. But if he gets a chance to duck to the middle or maybe gets him up off the bottom to go inside, I think he's got the best run. The top line's got a lot of juice coming down the back.
I know, and right now at this point, it's every man for yourself. No matter if
Andrew
your
Harris,
teammates...
big run on the top. Blair Holloman shoves him all the way to the lead. 10 almost gets clear as well. Doesn't. Here comes the inside line back with the 51. Both lines still intact here. Wrecking in the middle. We got a car on its side. That's the 10. Here comes the 99.
Like
gonna get a push from the 87.
Oh, the 51
Oh, they're gonna
gets
oh, the 99 gets it.
Finish. What a
99
finish.
gets it.
99
What
wrecking
a
a
Oh my
cross.
goodness. I think the most interesting part is we're going to get to talk to all 3 of those guys that just wadded up. Man, we saw the 10 car on his side. Wally Babb has won this race in the number 99 Chevrolet. The threat level midnight.
Nicely done. Let's try to go back here.
We got to take a look at the end of this race one more time before we give you the rundown of the results. That was your, I mean, am I wrong? That's your normal super speedway finish.
Yes, it is.
We got one truck upside down there on the inside. That's the 10. We'll get to that in a second.
If a car's not upside down, you're not at Daytona, all right?
That's right.
Unfortunately, there wasn't no
Well,
really
that's the back
incident
of the
here.
pack, which kind of interestingly wrecked back there as well. We'll take a look
So
at
this
farther up in
happened-
the front.
Who was involved?
Started
in
with
this
the
one?
10. The 10 was the first one I saw that was in the fence. Got on his side. He got it pretty good.
Okay, so
Yeah, it's this
started-
pack right here. 87, we get middle of 3. Ooh, Yeah, the 3 and the 10 get together, and that stacks up the back half of this field, and all those guys do. There we go. I mean, you're sandwiched up against the fence. Oh, the 25 truck
Off of the inside
kills
wall
the inside
hard.
wall. Oh man, the 55 thing. Oh my goodness.
Like,
55 to 20.
nobody has a break.
That's where the 10 got upside down. I mean, you're trying to get to the line. You see that checkered flag. Unfortunately for Blair Holloman, I don't think he finished this race. Well, nope. I think.
it's a
Oh,
truck
somebody's going
driving
backwards. Oh, who's that? That's. We got one crab walking, one going backwards. So Blair did get to the end of this race. If there's a will, there's a way.
Who was
What happened to that 25 truck? The 25 truck took it off the pit wall extremely hard.
Looks like the one going backwards with Matthew Moniak going backwards.
Backwards is still a finish. What happened to
Wow.
Jacob Zala here?
Forward here. Like I said, we're only rewinding this because there was no actual incident.
He's just on the inside there. Oh, and gets hooked. Oh, man, that's a shot. Right on the rear of the truck. I think he was able to get across the line, though, so I think we get to see him in the finish. Oh, well, then he gets killed by the 55. Oh, my goodness. He also finishes backwards. So we got multiple trucks going, finishing this race in reverse.
Needed as
And
many
then,
positions as he could get.
The final piece we need to check out is the actual finish.
Alright, let's go back to that and see. Alright, we need to get a little bit further back.
All the trucks were sideways at the time they came across the line, but they all did make it to the line. See what happened here. I really thought the 99 was just going to get a push from the 87, and that was going to be it. But the 87 had other plans, I gather. See it here. Yeah, they tried to make it 3 wide. Oh, and gets into the side of the 51, and that pretty much gave it to the 99. Man. 87 and 51 are teammates as well. You know, you take that into account. Well, let's pop up those results and see where everybody shook out after the chaos. We'll take a look at those, and then we'll get to some interviews here. Again, sorry, we do not have the teams up on the screen, but Wally Babb won this
Work in
race.
progress.
That's a work in progress.
You can only get better after every time, every show.
But I can try to guess or put together as fast as I can. So Wally Babb, as a threat level midnight driver, won this race. Phoenix Virtual Racing took 2 and 3 with Matthew Greathouse, Andrew Harris. James Jackson, our lone independent, came home 4th. It's great after making that unscheduled stop. High Temp Rev Racing took the next 2 spots with Sean Kozer and Michael Madden. Madden we saw in that first wreck, so great rebound for 6th. Spencer Brown 7th, Jeff Bradkey, another threat level midnight in 8th, Bruce Amston 9th, Jason Tripp rounding out the top 10.
All right. There, Joe Ruggles Jr. finishing 11th, Nicholas Lawrence in 12th, Sean Griffith 13th, Jason Green 14th, Rob Yost 15th, Derek De Silva finishes 16th, Jacob Zala, and then David Mayerberry rounds out 18th.
All right. Well, I think it's time. Let's pull up our winner as we cycle through the rest of these results. Wally Babb, welcome to the broadcast booth. That was an exciting finish. Walk us through it. What were you thinking on the last couple laps? What strategy were you trying to play there? Maybe. You may be having other obligations.
Can you hear me
there
now?
he is. Yeah, we
Sorry.
can hear you. Hey, what's up, man?
I'm talking away and I'm muted. Sorry. So on that last few laps, or after that last caution, it put me on the inside, and I was trying to get hooked up with my teammate Radke. But it wasn't working out like that. But on the second to last lap before the checker, coming into turn 3 and 4, when I would push, is that Great House that was in front of me?
Yep, Matthew Greathouse.
When I would link up with him, I would come out ahead of the outside line out of turn 3 and 4. So I was like, well, if it plays that again, I'm just going to roll with it. And it worked out. I figured he would throw up a block, but he kind of went back down. So I just tried to side draft him. And then next thing I know, I'm getting turned.
Yeah, that was an interesting looking finish for sure. Kind of just a log jam, everybody trying to be in the same place at the same time. I think where we kind of noticed you the biggest piece tonight was how well you were able to push the guys in front of you. And I think that helped you just be in the right lane with the right momentum because you were able to stay right up underneath the guy in front of you. But we also saw you work with your teammates most of the night, and that level midnight worked really well together. So give us a brief overview of kind of what your team talked about before the race, kind of what your strategy was, and then I'm sure you'll have a debrief afterwards.
Oh, yeah. Well, I pictured like it would be cool if all of us could be up front some part in this race, and then picturing Kyle Spees with a smile on his face.
He was smiling up here. I'll give you that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it worked out good early in the race right there. It was pretty awesome. I had Corey and Cracky got some bad luck. Racky, I was hoping he'd finish up a little higher. I think he got caught up in something right there too. But
Yeah,
we were working pretty good together. But I did link up with Blair. I was pushing him for a while, and then when I seen him behind me on a restart here, when the green white finished, I was like, maybe he'll, help me back since I was pushing him earlier. But it didn't.
I think he would have, but he was on his side.
Well, I was trying to make some friends, so, and then it didn't work out on that last restart. So I was like, well, here we go.
Well, you are now, because of the new format, playoff driver for SRN Season 5 for the Fiverr Truck Series. So congratulations on punching your ticket early. Now you got all season to kind of, accumulate as many points as you can get. Before we let you celebrate with your threat level midnight teammates, and I'm sure Spees will join you guys in that feat tonight, what are some sponsors, some partners that made it happen to where you could race with us here tonight?
Threat level for sure. Jeffrey Vickery on threat level. I want to congratulate him, but all my teammates. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Kyle, Radke, Corey, all those guys I run with. I learn from the best, and I think Kyle's got the record for the super speedway.
Yeah, he was our extra analyst up here tonight helping us out, and we were definitely tapping into his expertise because he has a lot better track record than the rest of us at super speedways, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, he schools me a lot.
All right. Well, we will let you go celebrate with your threat level midnight crew.
Hey, thanks for all y'all putting this on.
You're welcome. We are excited. We're excited that season 5's here. We're thankful that you and threat level midnight are returning with us, and a lot better races to come. But now you get a whole off week also to celebrate, so you get to enjoy this one for a little bit longer.
It's gonna work out good because I got a whole off week for work.
There we go. All right, enjoy it. We'll see you when we get back in action at Vegas.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that was our winner, Wally Babb. Let's talk to second place. Matthew Greathouse, welcome to the broadcast booth. Our second place finisher tonight. Talk us through the end of that race.
Oh man, honestly, I didn't really know where it was going to go. You get with these green white checkers, and you never know what's going to happen. You just kind of hold it wide open and hope you find a good push. And I did, and was there to have a chance to win, and kind of had a little team miscommunication. Just it happens. And I thought Andrew was going to go with me, so I kind of left the top and went to the bottom to help pull him to maybe a 1-2 finish, and it just didn't work out. And by the time I got the message relayed, he had already got to my bumper. So we had a big wreck, but man, I never finished these Daytona races, so I'll take a P2.
P2, good start to the season points wise for you. I mean, obviously we know you'd love that win because it's a win and you're in format now. But we talked a lot about teammates tonight, how you guys would try to find each other on track, how you'd work together. But we never touched on the idea that team mishaps can happen. However, it was unfortunate, you guys still finished 2-3. So I guess it could have been a lot worse in hindsight. Talk to us a little bit about what your team did as far as preparation for the race. What kind of strategy you guys talked about, how you would attack it, and any way you guys thought about going about it.
Well, I mean, the plan was with the stage break. We knew that there might be a few cautions, but if it went green, we'd be able to pit with have one green flag pit stop. So the goal was to take tires at the stage break and then take less tires under green and just try to stay together and have good pit stops and get out and make time. And we kind of got lucky with that caution. We were coming off pit road when the caution flew, and it kind of put us 1-2. I think maybe 4 out of the 5 of us were top 10 at the time. So it kind of put us in a good spot. And from there, we just kept our track position until some of us got taken out in some wrecks. But man, I'm like I said, I'm not going to complain about a P2 and P3 for Andrew and I. Most of the time, these Daytona races don't go so well for me, and so I'm cool with it. I'm just glad to be back with these guys at PBR. I was kind of uncertain on racing this season, but I'm glad I did, and I appreciate you guys putting it on.
Yeah, we're glad you're back. Always happy to see our drivers return, and especially guys like yourself that have found success in the series previously. So before we talk to your teammate, I know PBR has partners and sponsors that make it happen. So who would you like to shout out?
Yeah, just shout out all the guys at PBR, across all 3 series. Everybody in our chat. We have a good group of guys that we look after each other, and we push each other for good finishes, and we do the best we can and everything. So shout out to those guys. Shout out to everybody maybe in the chat rooting the 51 on tonight. It was a lot of fun being out front, leading some laps and going for the win. So I'd like to shout out Off Axis Paint as well. They've been with me last season and now this season again. So you can go to shopoffaxis.com, use code Matt10 for 10% off. They got pretty nice shirts, replica helmets, everything NASCAR really. So go check them out.
Good deal. Well, enjoy the week off for the 4th of July. Have fun, and we'll see you when we return in Vegas.
Yes, sir. Thanks, guys.
All right. So, to talk to the last person that was in that jumble party at the end, it's Andrew Harris. Andrew, welcome to the broadcast booth. Interesting finish there. We just got done talking to your teammate about kind of the mishap that happened there, but we also talked about how you guys tried to play the strategy throughout the race. Walk us through your experience for the 66 laps, what was supposed to be 60, of racing here at Daytona tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we tried to play as much strategy as you can at Daytona. We knew things were going to get wild there at the end with all the cautions. And yeah, there was a little bit of misread by me. I actually thought for some reason he was going to have the run on Wally, and I was going to go outside of him as to not give Wally a push and basically split him. And we tried to make a 1-2 out of it. He called out, stay behind me. When I made that move, his bumper was already aligned with mine, so I tripped him into Wally, which didn't really make a difference at that point because we all finished the race in 1, 2, 3. But I definitely could have made a better judgment call. I'm just glad that I was there at the end of the race. I mean, I finished 3rd in the duel, finished 3rd in the real race, so can't be too mad.
That's right. Good points. Start to the year this year. You're back for season 5. Talk to us a little bit about your expectations for this season, what PBR's goals are, and kind of what races are you looking forward to most.
As far as PBR goals, our goal, as always, is to win this thing. We came 2nd last year, and I feel like we have a shot. We have a team. We have Sean and Jason. You can't go wrong with them. So we want to win it. And as far as my expectations, obviously SRN has always been a great thing with you guys taking over. I can only see up as the way to go. I think this is my 5th or 4th season doing this, and I absolutely love it. And that's why I'm still back here. So.
Great. Well, we're glad you returned. We told Matt the same thing. We love to see our returning drivers, especially guys like yourself. We heard from the partners at PVR that made it happen for Matt, but what about yourself? Who would you like to shout out tonight?
I would just like to shout out my teammates, obviously all of PVR, Aaron for running it all, Sean and Jason for helping me out there, Matt helping with the strategy calls there at the end, Jose for always being a good teammate, and honestly you guys for putting this whole thing on.
All right. Well, we'll enjoy your off week for the 4th of July next week, and we'll see you back in Vegas.
See you guys later.
Andrew Harris, our third place finisher. So we'll interview a couple more guys before we're off tonight. The guys that have kind of finished in various places along the field, kind of get their takes. Kyle, I'll let you have this one. I'm going to bring up the 25 of Jacob Zala, finished in 17th position.
How we doing, Jacob? Here in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you. What's up, man?
Not too much, man. Good race tonight. Finished pretty good. Alive. That's always the key here. Run us through those last few laps of the race tonight.
Yeah, I made a bad block on Kosher there, the 97, so I want to apologize on that. But that's 2 years, 2 bad blocks at Daytona. But I'm just thankful that I was able to at least get some points out of this thing.
Absolutely. Any points here is a plus, especially coming into week one. With the bad blocks, moves happen. With the racing tonight, everything went well. Teammates involved. Were you able to stay with your teammates, or was it more of an individual night for you?
I feel like it was more of an individual night. The only guy I was with from my team was James Kern, the 75. Ben Park was up there early. And Adam Schaefer was up there early. Adam Schaefer got into a wreck, and then James got into a wreck, and Troy also got into a wreck, so it was more of an individual night for me. Luckily, Ben was up there at the end, but again, that wreck at the end kind of took him out of it.
Absolutely. One of our broadcasters actually picked James Kerr to possibly win the race, and I think earlier I was watching you two link together, and you were making a move. Unfortunately, just got stuck there at the end, a couple bad wrecks, and got stuck in the back. But all in all, a good finish for you, and hopefully here in 2 weeks in Las Vegas, you'll have another good finish. With that being said, any shout-outs to any sponsors or teammates tonight?
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank all my team at Bird Dog Racing, affiliated with Jonathan Byer Racing. So all the teammates to JBR, I wish them luck in their next 2 races upcoming. It's really been an honor to own this team in Bird Dog Racing, as this is a team that started in the 1980s by my dad. So to bring it back here on iRacing is awesome. Obviously, Chicago Heights Star, Tool and Die, Bird Dog Racing Components, all those guys that make it happen on the truck tonight. But that's it from me.
Hey, we appreciate you coming and racing tonight, and like I said, great finish tonight. Hopefully, Las Vegas, you'll round it out and have another good finish.
Yep, thank you.
Jacob Zala finishing in the 17th position. All right, we're bringing up the big dog next here. Sean Griffith, welcome to the broadcast booth.
Well, thank you there, Jonathan Meyer.
Nice 13th place finish tonight. Talk to us about it. It was chaotic to watch up here. There was a lot of comers and goers. We noticed you kind of were just surviving, and then at the end, you hop into the top 20.
Well, that's the name of the game out here. The 23 Silverback Tax Solutions truck. We just survive and survive and survive. And then at the very, very end, I still wasn't 100%, but I'll take a 13th place all day.
It's good points finish to start the season for sure. Talk to us a little bit about your expectations for season 5. What tracks you're looking forward to? What races you're looking forward to? Any highlights on the schedule for you?
Really, I love these super speedways just because, again, it kind of plays into my hand where it's just kind of hang back, wait, and let everybody else kind of do their damage to their own trucks and that sort of thing. I don't think that I'm going to be fast enough this season to keep up with the top. So my goal this season is just top half. Give me top half each race, and hopefully that'll get me somewhere close to the playoffs.
Hey, we've seen good points consistency pay dividends, and you're also racing for PVR this year, right? And the team championship accumulated points is back, and so you might help the team. Also, just finishing races, being consistent, work closer to that goal. So, you mentioned Silverback Task Solutions. Talk to us a little bit like what they do, any other drivers they're sponsoring this year, and their involvement with Speed Racing Network.
Yeah, Silverback Tax Solutions. A lot of companies do the tax returns and prepare the tax returns. Do that on TurboTax and all that stuff too. What Silverback Tax Solutions does is we fix the big tax problems. So if the IRS is calling you, if you're getting IRS letters, if you have liens or levies against you, can't pay the IRS for whatever reason, then we can find solutions for you. So Silverback Tax Solutions is all about dealing with the IRS every single day.
Very good. Somebody's got to do it, and it's not me. So I'm glad that Silverback Tax Solutions and you, Sean, take care of that. So Any other partners you'd like to thank tonight before we drop you back off?
Man, I mean that's about it. Phoenix Virtual Racing. Thank you for just giving me the opportunity to be on that team. Had a really good race. Second, third, and 10th, I think, were the ones that scored tonight. So really good race for PBR to start it off, and hopefully we can keep this thing going.
All right. Well, enjoy the week off, the 4th of July. Celebrate, have fun, and we'll see you back when we get to Vegas.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Sean. Sean Griffith finishing 13th tonight. One of the former owners of Speed Racing Network. Let's bring up the second one. Jason Tripp, welcome to the broadcast booth.
How are you, sir?
Very good. Nice top 10 tonight. We just talked to Sean, and he was talking about how he was just kind of playing to survive and was just trying to finish this race, get decent points for him and his team, and get out of here. I think a 10th place finish fits the bill for you too. Talk to us a little bit about your experience out there tonight.
Well, it's proof that even a back runner catches a draft every once in a while. I mean, it's definitely, I've probably got more time on iRacing and less laps turned than anybody you've ever met. But I don't know. It was just, at the end there, I was down on power. Totally my own fault, and caused some other issues from some other people there. But I was down on power, and then I just happened to be able to drive through that last wreck and went from, 21st, 22nd, coming out of turn 4 into that top 10. So it worked out. I didn't anticipate it to work out like that, but hey, I'll take it.
Hey, top 10 always plays. If you can do that consistently, you're going to find yourself in a good spot when we come playoff time. We asked Sean the same question, so we'll ask you, are there any tracks or highlights on the schedule that you're looking forward to this season, and what are your season expectations for season 5?
Honestly, I'm just I'm happy to be back behind the wheel kind of deal. I mean, it's this has been a new vantage point for me for SRN, so it's been kind of cool to see this from the other side. And I'm looking forward to all of them. Try and make as many, if not all of them, this season. And I don't obviously the talent. I'm like I said, I'm a back runner here, but stay out of trouble and stay out of everyone's way, and and hopefully I'll do all right. But we'll see.
All right. Who do you have to thank that helps you get to the track every week?
Well, we got to throw out Aaron Gerwitz. He always putting this team together for us, PVR. Our teammates that we have out here definitely helping us out, coaching us, educating us even, myself, telling us, hey, we're asking them questions all the time about, how we should set this up, how we should do that, different things like that. Obviously, my guy, Sean, I wouldn't do any of this stuff without him anyway, so whether it was SRN or this version of SRN for us. And, Silverback Tax Solutions. Can't go wrong with Silverback Tax Solutions.
That's right. We just talked about them. So enjoy your off week, the 4th of July. Celebrate, have fun, and we'll see you back when we get ready to go to Vegas.
Appreciate it, fellas.
All right. Thank you, Tripp. All right. Jason Tripp finishing in the 10th spot. So we got one guy left to talk to. I'm going to let Speeds talk to him. Rob Yost.
Rob, you got a copy?
I do.
Oh, boy.
How we doing, man? Seen you finish 15th tonight. Hectic finish. Big crash at the end. Were you or were you not able to avoid it? And how was your race tonight?
Oh, no. Tripp forgot his bifocals and caused that wreck before the big wreck. And we had 6 minutes of damage. We got it down to 5. I restarted 27th and just kept my foot in it till the finish and finished 15th.
Even with the craziness, and like you said, we did see Jason, and he was just in the booth and said craziness did happen on his part. He does apologize, but even with that, 15th is a great finish at Daytona. Better than last or broken. With that being said, working with your teammates and whatnot, what expectations do you have for the rest of the season?
Well, Mr. Spees, if you notice, I'm an independent, so I have no team, no goals, and no problems.
Can't go wrong there. Can't go wrong there. Sometimes it's better. Hopefully, during the season, you can make some friends and work with teams. Usually, you're a pretty good racer and a great guy. I think maybe some teams will be able to work with you, and maybe not, and maybe you'll just ride it out all season by yourself and just kick butt. You never know. So maybe that's a good thing. With that being said, any shout-outs to anyone personally or team or sponsors that you would like to bring up?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my girlfriend Heather, Spartan Sim Graphics. They're doing my truck, not tonight. Blair did my truck tonight. We got a new sponsor that signed like 20 minutes before we went green. Beef Jerky Unlimited. They're gonna come on board. And Buyer because he owes me a case of beer.
Here, I'll trade you. You can hook me up with some of that beef jerky unlimited, and I'll get you that case of beer shipped out to Pennsylvania. How's that sound?
Let's see what I can do.
All right.
That's awesome, man. Beef jerky sounds great right now, but hey,
Oh,
we
yeah.
appreciate you coming in the booth. Great race tonight. Hopefully your season goes the way you'd like to. Here in 2 weeks, we'll be at Vegas, and you can keep going on the good side and get a good finish.
Well, interesting tidbit. The guy that runs Beef Jerky Unlimited is a NHRA. I don't know if he's in the Hall of Fame or about to be in the Hall of Fame. Crew chief. He does Justin Ashley's Top Fuel dragster. It's Tommy Delago.
There we go.
Awesome. There you
Maybe
go.
we
Little
need to
fun
hit him up
fact
for some
you.
beef jerky. I think
Yeah.
SRN needs some beef jerky.
Hey, we need some beef jerky in the booth here, Rob. Where you at?
That's right.
I'm still waiting for my beer.
All right, I'll get it to you. You know what? I think a 15th place finish is good enough. So, hey, thanks for coming out tonight. Thanks for coming back to SRN. We love having you. And enjoy your off week. Celebrate the 4th of July, and we'll see you in Vegas.
You too, boys. Behave.
Thank you. Rob Yost.
Alright.
There we go. That concludes it.
Well, guys, definitely a fun, interesting 60 laps here tonight.
Turned into 66 laps.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Had a little bit of everything.
It was worth it at the end. Great finish.
But it's the super speedway racing we're used to seeing, right? I mean, you're gonna have your
Absolutely.
chaos, and it's interesting. We talked to a couple guys that were like, "Hey, we wanted to stay up front, run up front. We wanted to be those guys all night." And then we talked to like Sean Griffith, Jason Tripp. They were like, "We're just trying to survive," and then they end up with top 15 finishes. So we start the season with the bang, and what other best way to do it than go to Daytona? But like we said, we're off next week for the 4th of July. We hope everybody celebrates, has a good time safely. We'll be back with Las Vegas the week after for all 3 series. But tomorrow night, you get to see more trucks around Daytona with our Glitch Truck Series. There are our higher I rating guys. So come back to Speed Racing Network and don't miss that show for sure.
Alrighty. Well, that about does it here tonight at Daytona. Saw 66 laps here tonight. Carnage towards the end of the race. But definitely a fun one. Definitely a fun one. We'll be right back here in 2 more weeks, like you said. Next week we're off for the 4th of July, and then we'll be at Vegas. Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Look forward to seeing you all there next week. Any final thoughts from you two before we head off here?
Don't miss the show tomorrow night. Glitch Truck Series should be a good one. Same place, same time, same track, same cars. At the show, those 2 duels we had for the Glitch Series last week were the best I've seen in a long time, so you won't want to miss it.
Absolutely. I'm going to have to piggyback on that. Show up tomorrow night and watch another great race.
Alrighty. We'll definitely be there. But until then, we'll see you guys later.